Hi guys, welcome back. I'm finally back home with all my books so we can do fun book videos again. So this week I thought we would do letting Fable choose my reads. I saw Sarah Caroli do this and I have been using Fable. I love Fable, so I thought it would be a good idea to jump on that trend. So I've got my iPad here. It is charging because it was dead, but I brought it back to life just so we could pull up Fable. I did some rearranging of all of my want to read books, so now my want to read list is exclusively books that are next on my to read list, which sounds a little bit repetitive, but I originally had it with all the books that I owned plus some books that I wanted to buy. I move things around again, so if it's later on in the series, I have it in a different set of lists and not in my want to read because obviously I can't start a series in the middle. So it is 116 books long. It's just the books that I have on my shelves that I can just pick up and start reading right away. And I do have a top 5, my short list, which I think it's a new feature. It's just a top 5 books that I would want to read next. So I have Wild and Wrangled by Lila Sage, Voice of the Ocean by Kelsey and Peacha K, Caught Up from the Windy City series, book 3, by Liz Tomford, Reckless by Elsie Silver, which I believe is the 4th book in the Chestnut Spring series, and then Releasing 10, which is the 6th book in the Boys of Tommen series and just came out. So those are my top ones that I want to read, but I also did just finish Taming 7, so I don't really want to jump into Releasing 10 right away. Either way, we shall see what the little Fable bird picks for us. The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. So let me track down that book first. It was on the back of my book cart, so that is what we're gonna start next. I have heard good things about this book. However, I did read Love and Other Words, which is also by these authors, and I really disliked that book. I know that's a lot of people's favorite book. Don't come for me when I say that. It was just my personal opinion that I did not enjoy it. So I am skeptical about their writing because I know a lot of people are on the fence in general, and I thought, if I read their most popular book and don't like it, then maybe the rest of the stuff that people are so on, I probably won't like, but I figured I'd give them another chance. Read this one. I've heard good things, and I will update you guys as I go, so we can see what I think of this. But as far as I know, I believe it is about a girl and a guy. They don't really like each other, but they're both at a wedding of some sort. The wedding gets called off, and then the two of them go on the honeymoon instead of the couple that was supposed to go because they didn't get married. So we'll see what I think of that, and we'll jump right into reading. Just the two of us. I just wanted to give you guys a bit of an update on The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I'm on page 50, chapter 4, so a little bit of way into the book. I was slightly right, slightly wrong about the premise. It is these two people and they're going on a honeymoon together, and it's not their honeymoon. It's their families because the guy's brother and the girl's sister are getting married, and they all come down with really bad food poisoning. So yeah, they're gonna take the vacation together. I like the writing of it a decent amount. The main character annoys me. She just I don't know, I feel like she's a bit insensitive. This guy doesn't seem that bad. She also never really talked to him about any of this. So she's kind of it's set up like they're enemies. He doesn't seem to think that they're enemies. It's just her. And the reason she has for thinking that they're enemies is basically just that he's a germaphobe and she's not. She'll have something that has I don't know, she got food at a state fair, and obviously he doesn't want to be near it because there's so many germs. And she's just thinking he hates her. I'm the world doesn't revolve around you, girly pop. But nonetheless, enjoying it pretty much. I just feel like they're trying a little bit too hard to set it up as though they're enemies. They're not enemies. They're both part of the same bridal party. They're friends. Or maybe not friends. They at least know each other. They're acquaintances. She's a bit deluded. But he seems nice. I'm hoping it gets a bit better. Like, the only reason she's going on this vacation is because she doesn't want him to go on it and be happy. And I'm just like, I don't understand the logic of that. Like, why does him being happy make you mad? And why does you going on this trip with him then negate that? I don't get it. So, who knows? We will see where it goes. But so far, it's annoying me a little bit. But I'm enjoying the writing and everything. So, who knows? Hopefully they get to liking each other soon, because I don't think I could take much more of them hating each other. Like, if you're a contemporary book, please do not try to do an enemies to lovers. It's not really possible. You could do like a Romeo and Juliet type of situation, but that's not really enemies if the stakes aren't super high. I do have high hopes for enjoying this though still, because I think once I get past their like enemy situation, it'll be fun to read about them just enjoying their time in paradise. And it is summer, so I feel like this is the perfect book to be reading right now, and we'll see where I end up. But thus far, that's my assessment. So I will keep reading, and I will let you guys know if I'm enjoying it more, or maybe I'm gonna start hating it. I don't know. So we'll see. Hey friends, I'm back. It's the next day, I think. I did a little bit of reading last night. I got up to page 72. So if I finish the next chapter, I'll be basically at like a page 100, which is around a quarter of the way through the book. So I am still enjoying it. I think that the main character, her name's Olive, is starting to become a little less ignorant, so I'm having fun. It is a bit goofy, but it's just like a fun kind of summary type of romance book, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Like, am I a little bit annoyed by this main character? Yes, but I am also just excited to see what's gonna happen. So we will see what goes on, and I will continue to share my thoughts as I go. As you saw, was reading for a lot of the day. I wanted to quickly just give a little update again on this book now that I'm almost halfway through. This will be my like halfway point update, and then I'll probably update you towards the end unless I have something else I want to say before then. I am honestly really loving this book now. Like, the beginning I was a little bit cringed out. I was like, oh, this is a little bit like weird, she's a bit annoying, like blah blah blah. Now I'm just kind of along for the ride, having fun. Like, I'm enjoying their banter. And is she still a little bit annoying? Yes, but they're spending a lot more time together, and I do enjoy their interactions a lot. So I'm having a lot of fun and want to see what's gonna happen. So yeah. Hi friends. I wanted to give my little review on The Unhoneymooners. I really quite enjoyed this book. It also is, I will say, it is the day after I finished it. I did already start the next book, so you guys will see clips of me. I did film everything, and you're gonna see the clips after this. I just wanted to put them in order that makes sense. So future me coming to you with my review of The Unhoneymooners. I really enjoyed this actually. I thought I wasn't gonna enjoy it as much as I did. I was just like, the beginning I was a little bit skeptical, and as the story went along I ended up honestly having a lot of fun. I'm still settling on like a rating, but it is probably gonna land at like a 3.75, I think, which is not to say I didn't enjoy it. I did have a lot of fun with it, and I don't think 3.75 is a bad rating. I just couldn't quite give it 4. I feel like the end, some parts of towards the end, that like the third act breakup stuff annoyed me a lot. So because of that, I'm like, I don't want to give it a 4. I don't feel like it was a 4 to me. So 3.75. But I did really love them. They were both really funny, and I loved their banter so much. Like their little exchanges with each other were like my favorite part of this book. So if you're needing a fun like vacation read or summer read, I would definitely recommend. It is about a girl named Olive and a guy named Ethan. So Olive's twin sister and Ethan's brother got married. Everyone came down with really bad food poisoning, and Olive's twin sister had won the honeymoon on a raffle, so it was not refundable, it was not reschedulable. So she said, okay, you know what, Olive, you didn't get sick, so you take my trip. Like, you look like me, you can just take my ID, it's fine. And then Ethan went along because the last name on the reservation was the only one they had for the second person, and because it's the brother, they have the same last name. So he goes along with it too on this trip. They initially don't like each other, but you know, obviously it's a rom-com. As they spend more time together, they start to bond and everything. And you're kind of just in for a wild ride after that. They do some fake dating for various reasons, and it all just kind of unfolds from there. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, I would totally recommend reading this. But yeah, overall I'm thinking 3.75 on that one. And I would maybe consider reading another Christina Lauren book, but just because I have so many authors I already love, and this one is kind of iffy for me. Like, I haven't had a 5-star read from them. I'm just like, to me, it's not worth like trying to go buy and read more of their books. But if I eventually run out of stuff to read, which I don't know that that's ever gonna happen, I will definitely turn towards some of their backlist if I'm interested. So yeah, if you guys like them, recommend me your favorite book of theirs, and maybe I'll give it a try and see if they can't fully redeem themselves in my eyes after Love in Other Words. Now that I finished The Unhoneymooners, I am gonna have Fable pick the next read for the video. Okay, I've got my little want to read list here, and we're gonna let Fable pick another book. We've got Forever Never by Lucy Score. I am kind of gonna cheat a little because I am at heart a mood reader, and having just finished a romance book, I'm kind of wanting a different genre, so I want to see what else it picked, and we'll see if I want to read that or not. Oh, okay. This one is a fantasy. It's continuing a series too, which is definitely good because I need to be getting in the habit of finishing my series. Let me go grab it and we can talk about it. So we've got Heart of the Raven Prince, and I don't exactly know how to pronounce the author's last name, and I don't want to disrespect her by mispronouncing it horribly, so you can read it on the top there. But I did read the first book of the series. It was at the very end of 2023, I believe. I think it might have been my last read of the year that year, or it might have been my first read of 2024. I'm not sure, but I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. The series comes highly recommended by Sarah Caroli. This is Entangled with Fae series, and she's used to rave about this. She doesn't talk about it as much anymore, but she obviously has a lot of books that she reads a year, so she has a lot to talk about. I did buy the whole thing, so I have all of them. But the first one was, I believe, a Beauty and the Beast retelling. They're all fairy tale retellings set in like fantasy world with fae and all sorts of different kinds of fantasy creatures. So this one I think is Cinderella retelling. So I'm excited to see what I think of that one and to get into it. I think I've heard that this one is better than the first one, maybe. As far as I know, Sarah Crowley read this one first, I think, because she got it in some sort of blind date situation or something, or she just didn't know it was second and read it first. So she's never read the first book. She's read this one and I think a couple of the ones after. So if she read this one and really loved the series enough to continue, I have high hopes for it as well. So we will see what I think of it as we go along, and hopefully I enjoy it as much as I liked the last one. And I know I'm kind of cheating on the premise of this video, so I want to address that quickly, but I just got out of a book slump recently. It was ended by Crescent City, so I want to try to pick up books that make me want to read them. And The Unhoneymooners, I'm holding both of them. The Unhoneymooners has been on my list for so long. It's one of the first books I bought, I think, when I first got into reading, and I haven't read it until now, like 2 years later, almost. So because of that, I feel like I've already put myself, this genre isn't out of my comfort zone, but this book I was scared to read because I was scared I wouldn't like it after reading Love in Other Words and not enjoying that one, but I did really enjoy it, so that is good news. However, it did take a little bit out of me to force myself to start this, and because of that, I think I should be allowed to read a different genre next. So we're gonna go with that one, and I definitely eventually will get to that Lucy Score book. I've read some of her other books and I have enjoyed all of them so far, so I'm not saying that I am scared to read that book or that I don't want to read it necessarily, but I just don't want to be reading a ton of romances in a row. I tend to read romances in between every other genre book that I decide to pick up. Like I'll read a fantasy and then I'll read a romance and then I'll read a literary fiction and then a romance and then a mystery and then a romance and just keep going from there. So I'm going to try to get started on this tonight and I will report back tomorrow, which sounds a bit confusing timeline wise because of the clip you guys saw right before this, but it is currently the night that I finished The Unhoneymooners. I don't want to give my thoughts until tomorrow, but I wanted to pick out my next book so that I could read a little bit of it before I go to bed tonight. So because of that, the timing's a bit weird, but I will see you again tomorrow for more updates on this book, and hopefully you have enjoyed listening to me talk about my thoughts on this, even though I technically haven't talked about it yet. Crazy how that works. So anyways, Heart of the Raven Prince. Hi guys, I just wanted to give you an update on Heart of the Raven Prince. I started it, I think yesterday, maybe the day before. I'm currently on page 34, and it is like a Cinderella retelling, so the girl is just now meeting the guy, and it's one of those situations where the guy, he's obviously a prince because, you know, Cinderella, and so he is always getting fawned over by like everyone, like everyone's mom is throwing their daughter at him and he is sick of it. And so he ends up in this alley trying to escape a crowd and finds the main character of this book, and he's like, oh, like you're cornering me to try to like make your proposal, blah blah blah, and she's like what? No, I'm just here because my stepmother is forcing me to wait for her in the alley. And so they're just about to like have a bit more of a chat. I got cut off, so I'm excited to read more, honestly. So I'm just gonna chill here. I got a beautiful view of the lake out in front of me and the sun and everything, so I'm gonna try to get as much reading in as I can, and then I will get back to you guys with more updates as I go. Hi guys, it is the same day. I don't remember when I last filmed, but I wanted to give you guys an update on Heart of the Raven Prince because I've made it a decent way into the book. I'm now at page 166, chapter 18. The book is about like 500 pages, which is pretty long, honestly, for like a romance-focused fantasy book, but I'm enjoying it, so it's fine. I wanted to just give a little synopsis, and then talk a little bit about my thoughts. So far, I can't even talk anymore. Talk a little bit about my thoughts so far. So, from the beginning of what I've read, there is obviously it's a Cinderella retelling. So there's a girl named Ember. She's Cinderella, and she has an evil stepmother and awful stepsisters, and yada yada. She's a maid. She ends up going to a ball with them because, well, first of all, she encounters the prince. He assumes she's there to try to seduce him like every other woman he sees, which that's kind of fair. If every woman you see is trying to seduce you, you'd be wary. But she was annoyed because she was like, I'm not here to seduce you. Why are you being so mean to me? I'm just trying to exist peacefully here, and you just came out of nowhere and started yelling at me, which is also fair on her part, because what the heck, man. So she already doesn't like him. He doesn't like her, but he didn't know what she looked like. So, and he forgot about her immediately after, whatever. But for her, she was like, this prince guy, he's so annoying. She ends up going to this ball because the only way her stepmother, her family is not in high standing. They don't really have an income. So it's kind of hard for them to, but her stepmom's trying to marry off her stepsisters. So she's like, oh, we need to introduce them to some rich people, and the only way to do that is to go to the ball. So she sends a letter to the first girl main character of the series, which is a book I read before this. I think it's called A Curse of the Wolf King. The girl in that book, spoiler alert, ends up with the guy, the Wolf King guy. You know the story of Beauty and the Beast. It's that story, but set in this world. So the stepmom sends that girl a letter being like, hey, I want you to get us invitations to this ball, me and my family. And that girl was like, you hated your family. Why are you, asking for invitations for them? Okay, I'll give you invitations for them just in case it is you, but you can they can only be used if you are there. And she enchanted them so that was true. So they had to bring her along. She comes along to the ball. There's a lot of different things going on, but she basically ends up taking the place of a different princess that's staying at this castle that needs to run away. So she's gonna take her place for a little bit, such that they don't think the princess has run away, so that the princess can get a head start. And I think that princess is the main character of the next book, but I was gonna double check that to be sure. So she basically has to pretend to court the prince as this other princess. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. I honestly am really loving this world. The first book, the world itself is so interesting. It's basically, there's fae, okay? They're not like the fae in ACOTAR, really. So how they are in this world is there's the unseelie and the seelie. They basically consider it as the fae and the humans kind of got in a bit of a war situation, and once the humans met the fae, they started trying to impart some of their culture. The fae have an unseelie form and a seelie form. Their unseelie form is their animal form, whatever their natural form is. The Wolf King, his was a wolf. This guy, the Raven Prince, his is a raven, shocker. So yeah, and then the seelie form is their human form that they put on, so that they can fit in with human society, and obviously they can talk as animals too, but so there's the seelie courts are the humans, their governance, and then the unseelie courts are the governance run by the fae, and they work together to rule each of the lands. So I can show you the map of the place. But basically, we're currently in the Lunar Court, which is that one up there. The last book, I think, took place in, I want to say it was spring. I'd have to double check that though. I don't remember in enough detail. But it was definitely either spring, actually it might have been winter. I don't know. So the seelie and unseelie courts work together to keep the balance of peace and rule everyone, basically, together for each of the lands. And the Raven Prince is the heir to the throne of the Lunar Court, and his sister he's having trouble finding love, first of all. He is a vampire, an emotional vampire is what they said, which basically means that he can sense people's energies. So he can kind of tell what they're feeling if he's looking for it. So most of the relationships he's been in, especially the ones where people really cared about him, he's ended up finding out that like they had an ulterior motive for being with him, because he can like sense that. And so it's like he's had a hard time finding someone that he likes. But he ended up, and he has like a really bad reputation with the people being super like rakish and like daring and leaving a trail of girls with broken hearts, like that kind of thing. Especially because he's a bit cocky and he acts a bit cocky because he doesn't want to talk to any of these random like girls that are trying to throw themselves at him. So yeah, it's a bit of a situation. I'm honestly curious to see how this unfolds. So we will see. Oh, and the other thing too is the element in this book is that for the Cinderella retelling is that Ember made a bargain with her stepmom when her mom passed away way before, obviously, and then when her dad passed away. She made a bargain that with her stepmother, because her stepmother was like, hey, like your dad wanted me to take care of you once he was gone, so to help him, I want to make a bargain with you. And obviously, like as most fae books go, fae make bargains. She's half fae. Her dad was a human, so her stepmom married the human one, and then her mom, who passed away, was the one that was Seelie, or fae. And so because of that, her fae nature means that if she makes a bargain, it's pretty binding to her. Like full fae, not like half fae. Like if you're full-blooded fae and you make a bargain, it can kill you if you don't abide by it in this world. She's half fae, so it just causes her pain. Like she's compelled to comply with the bargain, but it's not a life or death situation. So she makes a bargain with her stepmother, and her stepmother basically says, hey, I want to be able to take care of you because that was your father's wish, and so I want you to live under my roof until you're 19 and obey me. And she agrees because obviously grief and whatnot. And so she's now stuck with her stepmother. So that's kind of the premise. There's more, but there was a lot happening, and I don't want to spoil it because it was such a wild ride. There was so much drama. I was living for it, but I want to see if this princess is the third book, if the third book is about that princess, because I was just really curious. But so far, I'm honestly really enjoying it. I started out and I was a little bit skeptical about it and didn't love it, but once she encountered the prince, things started really picking up, and now I'm kind of just flying through it. So I'm excited to continue. I'm hoping to make it halfway maybe today. When I first started this, I was a little bit disappointed because after reading The Honeymooners, I was kind of in the mood to start. Sorry, that was my hip. That was so loud. After I finished this, I was in the mood, after I finished The Honeymooners, I was in the mood to start Funny Story by Emily Henry. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you. I think I was just craving something that I knew I would really love and enjoy that was also a rom-com. So I felt like I wanted to jump into that one, but I didn't want to betray the video, obviously. And I do want to read the series, so I decided to go into this one, which it's not a full fantasy. How many times can I say full? It's not totally a fantasy. It is, I would say, romance series set in a fantasy world. Like obviously there is some world building and there is some aspects on that side, but all of the books are focused on fairy tale retellings and love stories, basically. So because of that, this is kind of scratching that itch, if you will, of I'm feeling more like romancy, and this is a bit more romancy. But I'm hoping that the next book, Fable picks for me, which I think will probably be the last book, is also really good. I know I cheated to get this one actually because I said I wasn't feeling a romance. I lied a little bit. But to be fair, at the time, I didn't want to jump right into another romance after The Honeymooners. So honestly, I think this book was a good next pick. So we'll see what the bird has in for me for my last book after I finish this, and hopefully I will be in the mood to read that. I know I said I was going to check if the next book was about this princess girl that is part of the story, and then I didn't because I forgot, but I just remembered. So I'm going to go look. And I was right. The third one is about that princess. It's a Little Mermaid retelling, Kiss of the Selkie. This sounds so interesting. Like, okay, I'm going to read you the back, and I might speed it up because I talk a little bit slower than I would like, and it's long. But I just need to read this because it sounds so interesting. To evade a vicious sea queen's clutches, Selkie Maisie hides on land, surviving as a thief. Maisie's the princess I was talking about. But when she rescues a human from drowning and illegally brings him to shore, she must answer for breaking Fae law. As punishment, she'll have to hunt down the man that she saved and kiss him. But with a kiss that can kill, Maisie's mission means more than seduction. It means murder. Son of a notorious Fae killer, Dorian was never meant to survive the shipwreck that was orchestrated to assassinate him. Now that he's on the Forbidden Fae Isle, he'll do anything to gain citizenship, even marry a Fae bride. Desperate for a hasty marriage, he holds a bridal competition in the Isle's most theatrical city, where displays of frivolity aren't just encouraged, they're expected. And if Maisie can act like a proper debutante and join the pageantry, she'll get near enough to deliver her fatal kiss. But getting close to her target brings complications she didn't expect. As she pretends to compete for Dorian's heart, it starts to feel less like an act and more like falling in love. If Maisie doesn't deliver her kiss by sunrise on the last day of the competition, she forfeits her life. But if she succeeds, Dorian dies. When the pageant ends, will there be a true victor or only death and broken hearts? And she has a crab. She has little Sebastian. His name's not Sebastian, it's Paraxis or something like that, but it's so cute. I just love it. All of them pretty much have enemies to lovers. It's not enemies. They're not enemies. Some of them are. Most of them aren't. Like these two, I wouldn't call them enemies. They just don't like each other at first, and then they come to like each other later on. And that I really like in a book. Like they're not set up to be enemies. They just have a dislike, and it's turning into fondness, which I love. But it's not that they're mean to, it's that they're acting like someone they're not, and that's the initial impression they have of each other, and that's why they don't like each other at first. But once they get to know each other, their actual selves, that's when they'll get to like each other. And that's the thing that I like about these books. Well, just one of them. You know, I like many things about these books, but I'm gonna stop yapping. I'm gonna go try to make some headway in this, and I will come back to you guys with more updates. Hey guys, it's me again. I have, as we can tell, made a lot of progress. I'm on page 348, chapter 37. I don't know how much of the way through the book that is, but I made it to around halfway last night, and then I've just been reading for the past like hour-ish, and I am literally having the time of my life. My first thought was I'm enjoying this book way too much, but I'm like, why put limits on the amount of enjoyment you can get from a book? Like, you should be able to enjoy the book however much you want. I don't know. I just think from the way it started, I guess, and the premise being the Cinderella retelling, not like anything specific about this book, but from the Cinderella retelling, I didn't have super high hopes. Well, I don't want to say it that. I did have high hopes. I knew I was going to enjoy it. I just, because of the limitations of the fairy tale, I didn't think it was going to be as, I don't know, I guess touching to me, because, you know, you kind of know where the story's going. But in this case, I'm like, I actually don't know where the story's going. Like, the setup was very Cinderella-like, but with the way the world is set up and the way the story's going, I'm like, I really don't know what's gonna happen. I'm honestly loving all the characters in this. Well, obviously not all the characters, like there are some evil people, but the main character, I'm starting to really like her. The prince that she's spending a lot of time with, love him now. And there are a few other characters in the mix that come around that I really love to see. And I don't want to have any spoilers, but the chapter I just read, I teared up a little. Like, I was just like, oh my god. So yeah, there's not too much more of this book left, honestly. I have about like 100 pages, honestly. 150 maybe. A little less than 150, like 140 pages. I really want to see where it's gonna go. Like, I'm starting to get really sucked in, and it's becoming an obsession to the point where it's a problem. I don't know that I would say it's necessarily a 5-star because I don't know where it's gonna go. Like, the ending, total wild card. I have no idea what to expect. I mean, obviously I know that they're gonna end up together and everything's gonna be la-di-da happy, but how we're gonna get from here to there, I genuinely could not tell you what's gonna happen. Like, and that's what's gonna decide my rating, definitely. Like, right now I'm really loving it, but if the ending flops, like, that's like, then the whole book is a flop for me. That's just, I don't know. Like, even the smallest thing can ruin a book for me. Not the smallest thing, but certain plot points can ruin a book for me, and I need this story to like feel emotionally satisfying and make sense for what the characters are doing and how they act and their character. So I've taken issue with a couple of other books in the past because of the way it ended, or a character would do a certain thing that didn't feel in character for them, and I'm just like, okay, this isn't, but yeah, my whole update was basically just that I am really loving this. Like, I read that one chapter, teared up a bit, and was like, okay, you know what, I need to rant about this book for a second because I'm loving it. I'm so happy that Fable picked this one for me because I just am having the best time. And I'm so excited to know what's gonna happen. Like, I need to know what's gonna happen at this point. I'm so invested. Like, the last book, I enjoyed. This book, I'm loving. Like, the last one, I was like, okay, this was fun. Like, I would definitely continue the series, but I didn't have super high expectations after the last one. This one, like, oh man. If you're gonna pick a book to read of this series so far, I would definitely pick this one. Like, I know I got this recommendation from Sarah Caroli, and she read this one first, I think, and then read the rest, or started reading the rest of them in the series, but didn't read the first one because by the time she had read this one, she already kind of knew how they were as a couple, and so didn't really feel the need to go back and read their story. So, and she loves the series, which I understand now. Like, the first one, I was like, oh yeah, this is fun, like, I want to see where it goes. If you started with this one, like, you would go into this world with a bang. Like, this is a banger. I can't explain how much I'm enjoying this right now in words that make sense other than me just saying it's really good, but trust that it's really good. I'm really having a lot of fun, and I just, like, as much as I need to know what's going to happen, I'm also scared because I'm like, I feel like I'm in a bubble right now, and I don't want the ending to pop it because I'm just having so much fun. Like, I would say, actually, okay, my one thing I didn't like about this book so far was just, I felt like it took a little bit long to get into the meat of the story. Like, the setup of the story took quite a long time, but it was all totally worth it. And, like, honestly, it's not that the beginning was not interesting. Like, the first, like, quarter, I would say, was the setup for the rest of it. But after the first, like, 2 chapters, like, you're invested already. It's just that all of the plot lines actually kind of start, you know, like, the beginning is kind of like if you're making a little graph, it's kind of like and then after the first quarter, it just, you know. So it was definitely worth it to read the beginning part. I just think that, obviously, I would have loved to get into the meat of the story sooner, but without the beginning, you don't really have the setup or the connection to the characters that you need to be able to enjoy it as much as I am. So because of that, I can't really complain. And I was already invested right at the beginning, so that is my update. I'm scared. I don't know. I need to know what's gonna happen. Besides that, I do want to give a bit of a preface, I guess. I'm gonna try my best to finish this tonight, and I think I have the means and the time to do so. However, tomorrow is going to be a major travel day for me. I do plan to read a 3rd book for this video, but that means I'm probably going to be reading most of it on the plane tomorrow. So I may not be able to film a lot of little updates in between. So I'm just hoping I can find some time to talk to you guys a little bit. We're going to be doing quite a bit of driving, so I'll probably be able to talk to you guys then. But I just wanted to let you guys know I'm probably not going to be able to film a ton of updates and everything while reading the next book, but I'm hoping I can finish it. I just can't get over my level of enjoyment with this book. I don't know what it is about it, but I'm just enraptured. Like, honestly, thinking about, like, if the ending goes well, I could see a 5-star in the future of this. Maybe. Just because while reading it, I'm like, this is so fun. And then once I stop reading it, I'm like, holy crap, like, I am just thinking about it. Thinking about the book when I'm not reading it, and that's a good sign. We shall see what this last little sliver holds. I promise these are tears of happiness. The book ended happily. I'm just a crybaby. I cry at everything, okay? Okay. We are back here with my iPad so that we can pick our next read. Well, first, let's mark that I finished my other book. So let's take a look at what the Fable Bird has in store for our last read of the video. It picked out Leather and Lark by Bryn Weaver, which is the second book of the Ruinous Love trilogy, I believe is what it's called. The first book was Butcher and Blackbird. This is supposed to be a bit of a darker romance type of vibe. So I am definitely excited to get started with that one. But I'm also just curious to see what Scout's next pick is. So and Scout's next pick would be the next book in the Windy City series, which I definitely will be getting around to reading that at some point, but I think we should not cheat this round and pick up Leather and Lark. I wanted to give a little bit of a fun fact, actually. I, before starting this video, was wanting someone to pick a read for me. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to pick up, so I was like, I need someone to pick for me. So I decided to let the Fable Bird Scout pick a book, and it actually picked this one. But before I got to start it, I had the idea to make a video, obviously. And so I put this one back and just started from scratch with Scout. But I think it's funny that Scout picked it again. I guess that little bird really wants me to read this book. But this book, it's supposedly very interesting. It's about one of the brothers of the first book, I believe, and it's a marriage of convenience. Let's take a look. I know the first book was about 2 serial killers, and that sounds a bit dark, but I mean, obviously the book was a bit dark, but it was very like comedic, and the 2 serial killers would only kill people that have done bad things, which doesn't necessarily make it better, but they're not like sociopathic. They're like, you know, it's all for fun and games, not the killing. The reading of that book is all just for fun and games, so I wouldn't take it too seriously. But I thought it was a fun read, and I was interested to see what the rest of the series would have. So I know that the guy of that first book has 2 other brothers that are both also involved in some sketchy business. I believe this brother is one of the brothers that was like a contract killer of some kind. And then the third one, I think, is a doctor, and he would patch people up under the radar without having to document it, so helps with the criminal activity, you know. This girl, don't know anything about her. On the back it says that she's an indie singer-songwriter, so who knows, but I have hopes that it'll be fun. I believe this girl is a friend of the main character from the first book, so we shall see. There is an extensive list of trigger warnings for both this book and the other book, and if you aren't at risk of getting triggered by anything necessarily, I honestly welcome you to just go into it without trigger warnings, without reading them, which is what I usually like to do, just so that I don't get anything spoiled for me. But if you obviously are sensitive about certain topics, it might be helpful for you to look at them. Or if you don't really care too much about the spoilers, they're written in a really fun way. Like it almost feels like a conversation. Like this may be a little bit morbid, but I know a lot of people will say about a favorite author, like, oh, I would read like her grocery list. It's kind of written almost like that. Like, yes, it's a list of like triggers, but she injects some of her humor into it, and that was also something that I found really entertaining. So I definitely recommend looking at it, even if you don't care about what's on it necessarily, just because it's fun. So, and the next time I see you, I will be probably on a plane. So guys, as you can see, I'm back home. We just landed like a couple hours ago, so we're here. I did end up starting and finishing Leather and Lark on the trip. I finished it on the plane ride back, so I wanted to do a little wrap up of all the books that I read, and I'll also talk about Leather and Lark a bit in depth here. So we will start with that one. So this one I absolutely demolished on the plane. So I had the wrong brother. This one is not the doctor brother. That's the third book. The third book is about the brother that's a doctor. This is the one that he works as like a contract killer. So he kind of basically just does everything that his clients want him to do. Like if somebody kills someone, he's there to help them clean it up. If he has to kill someone, he's there to do that. Like any of the dirty work that they want done, he's there to do. And it is a marriage of convenience, kind of. They end up getting married because the guy, okay, premise. There is a contract that the girl, her dad, her family is like a criminal enterprising family. Her dad has hired the guy Lachlan, his company, the company he works for, to do all of the cleanup stuff. He encounters her. They have a really bad encounter. He's a really big asshole to her, and so she's really mad about it. Word gets around. People start dropping this company and just like abandoning them, dropping out of their contracts and stuff. So they're losing a lot of money. It's not good. So later, the girl Lark, her family starts having issues because somebody is killing off people that are connected to their family, getting closer and closer to the family itself, and they're trying to figure out who it might be, and they think it might be Lachlan because of the whole fiasco with Lark and him being mean to her and losing all of his clients. So they're considering just killing him and then seeing if the killings stop as their solution. And so she knows it wasn't him, and his brother, the guy from the first book, Rowan, is now marrying her best friend, and so she doesn't want to see her best friend hurt like that, and she knows that this guy Lachlan is a decent guy. Like, she doesn't think he would do that because it would jeopardize his brother's marriage, and his brothers are like everything to him. So she knows it's not him, but she can't really convince her family of that. So she decides to marry him to protect him and use his connections and skill set to try to help her figure out who is doing this to her family. And obviously sparks fly along the way. So yeah, I actually really loved this. Like, there was an element of like enemies to lovers, but they weren't really enemies. Like, they had always kind of known each other, and it was very interesting because their first encounter was him being an asshole to her on that contract. Their second encounter, they were very attracted to each other and they like made out, and then the reason that they ended up not liking each other is because she figured out that he was the one that was mean to her that one time and was like, oh, I don't like you. And he just decided like, oh, I don't like her either. But you know, they were both obviously attracted to each other. It was just that one interaction that was off-putting to them. But like, as they got to know each other better, they were like, oh, that whole thing was kind of a misunderstanding. And they obviously fell more to the attraction side of things. But it was very slow burn, very cute. I would say this one's also a little bit spicier than the last one, but the spice only comes right at the very end because obviously the whole slow burn. And there's a little bit less gore than the first one, I would say. If you cannot take descriptions of gory things, like if you get like queasy reading about that stuff, I would probably avoid this still. But I would say if the first book was a little too much for you, this one has significantly less, and it's more focused on like their relationship. So overall, really love and enjoy this one. I will tell you my rating once I do my little wrap up of all of them. So those are my thoughts on Leather and Lark. Now we can do a little wrap up of everything that I read for this video. And I am sorry that I couldn't do more updates while reading this, but I basically read it in one sitting and didn't want to have to try to talk on the plane because the plane noise would have made that really hard, and I just don't think it would have been very good. To do a little wrap up, we started this video with The Honeymooners by Christina Lauren, which I thought I wasn't gonna like, but I ended up enjoying a lot. I gave this 3.75 stars. This one was super cute, very summery. I would definitely recommend, if you're interested at all, to jump into it. So next up, I read Heart of the Raven Prince. This is the second book in the Entangled with Fae series, and I loved this one. I had so much fun reading this. I was so enraptured by the story and the twists and turns and the relationship and the writing, and I just absolutely adored this book so much. It was such a fun twist on a Cinderella retelling, and it totally did not go where I expected it to, and I loved that about it. So I ended up settling on 4.75 stars for this one. It just didn't quite give me that 5-star feeling for me to give it a 5, but it was amazing and so fun. I think it just didn't have enough of a message that I felt like I could take into my life. Most of the books that I end up really loving and wanting to give 5 stars, I come out of the book feeling like I can take something out of it, and this one didn't necessarily have a deeper message that you could take out of it outside of this world, but within this world I adored. So 4.75. And last but not least, Leather and Lark. I settled on 4.25 for this one. I just had so much fun reading it. Like, their slow burn was spectacular, and she wrote their dynamic so well, in my opinion, where like he obviously was attracted to her and really liked her. She was the one that was a little bit put off because of their first interaction. That I think was so well written, and I liked their like enemies to lovers dynamic being not truly enemies to lovers. Like, they both knew they were attracted to each other. They just had that one moment that was off-putting to the both of them. So because of that, I love this more than I enjoyed most like enemies to lovers books, because in contemporary romance, it's a bit of an ick to me just because you can't really be enemies. Especially in like the Unhoneymooners, it was supposed to be set up that way, but like they weren't actually enemies. She just decided she didn't like him. And so I was just like, okay, like let's grow up a little here. But in this one, it's like it makes sense. Like, he was actually kind of mean to her. And was he going through something else? Yes. Was that an excuse in the end? No. So they had an arc surrounding that, and I really enjoyed that about this. So 4.25. So those were the 3 books that I ended up reading for this. I honestly had such a good time doing this. Like, I didn't think that I would end up liking all the books as much as I did. Did I cheat on the second one? Yeah, but it worked out really well for me. So I definitely would let Fable choose my reads again. Like, anytime I don't know what to pick up, I'll probably just let Fable pick it and force myself to start it, and I'll probably enjoy it. So yeah, if there are any other reading vlog ideas you want to see, if you want to see Fable choose my reads again, let me know. And I hope you have a nice day, and I will see you soon.